All right, good afternoon. My name is Michael Essien, and I'm here to talk to you on how to draw support and resistance line. The mentees are making a demand and a request for this. Now, I like to say this. I'm going to be very brief and straight to the point. Demand and supply are also resistance and support, but they are not necessarily the same thing. Now, demand and supply only responds to resistance and support that are drawn horizontally. Please take note of that. Demand and supply only responds to to resistance and support that are drawn horizontally. Remember that you can draw support and resistance this way, that is diagonally. You can also draw it in form of a channel. You can draw it vertically, as the case may be, depending, of course, diagonally. So now, if we do this, that's a resistance. If we do this, that's a support. But that is not demand and supply. Demand and supply zones are only horizontal. All right? So just the first thing I want to clear. Now, let's go back to how you can use price action to draw, of course, a naked chart to say for price action trading, of course, how to draw support and resistance. Please take note. This is my one window, and for those of you who don't know, I want you to know that you can use one MT5 and have up to 3 different strategies. That's 3 different windows. All you need to do is just to alternate between them. For now, I'm going to create a blank a chart, more like a naked chart, but I don't have to delete or clear off my existing setup now. So what I do is that I will have to click on this. Let me show you. You see that place, the topmost right, where we have that window. So I'm going to click on that. So when I click on that, you'll see plus new window. I want to add a new window, so I will tap on the new window, and then of course I have a new window now. You see that where we have a new window. So I will just press and hold down on the new window, and this is the button I'm looking for. That button means enlarge. So I will enlarge my screen by tapping on that button, and I have this. Right now, all I need to do is maybe change the color, reduce this, and maybe I want to, okay, so this is boom 1000. Yes, and so that is that. So you see I have another window. That does not mean that the previous one is deleted or is gone. All I need to do is to go back to this same place, right? And then I will tap on it, and I will say tile horizontally. Now you look at it, I have it, the other setting is at the bottom. So I will press anywhere and hold down, and then I will tap this same button to launch me, that is to maximize it, right? And then I will tap on it, and this becomes my previous or my former setup. So what happens to the one I just added is still there. All I do is I go back here again, and then I say tile horizontally. I press and drag that. Okay, tile horizontally. Sorry for that. Come here, tile horizontally. I come here. Okay, sorry. Was it boom 500? No, tile horizontally. That's right. Sorry, I'm trying to bring back the previous window. Okay, vertically, horizontally, anyone, it works, provided you have access to the next window. So the former one, the other one is still there. So here now, I can do my price action. I can draw my support and resistance line. Now, let me make it very clear at this point. Support and resistance lines are not horizontal lines. They are not straight lines. That's where we make mistakes. They are a region. Your support, your resistance is actually a region, a price range. It's never a straight line. Okay? So when you are drawing support and resistance, don't draw a straight line. I want to repeat. Don't draw a straight line. This is what I mean. You don't come here and say, let me draw, something like that. You'll be wrong. You'll be very wrong. I'm telling you. You don't do this. That is not a resistant line. You've not done it well. It's not denoted by just a line. Okay. So the best way to draw a support and resistance zone is to understand that it's a psychological zone, meaning that it's a range. Anything around that area, there is energy, there is resistance around that area. So you use the box and then you do something like this. Okay, that's how to draw it. So you do something like that, meaning that anytime price gets to that area, you look for opportunity to either sell or buy depending on what you are doing. So I just want to show you how to draw support and resistance for those who say they have difficulty in drawing support and resistance. By the way, what is support and resistance? Support and resistance are area where price are rejected often, and they are denoted by wicks, candlestick wicks, where you notice that there's a lot of wick rejection either at the bottom or at the top. Most of the time, that actually is an area, so you need to consider, is it a support or a resistance area? Okay, so let's look at that. So we know that there is a support around here, so you don't use a straight line like this and say, okay, I'm drawing that support. You are wrong, so that you can cover everything. Now let me say this very carefully. I personally am not a price action trader alone. I combine indicator and price action to make my entry very accurate. And like what I've taught us, the EEP and the other ones will give you almost an exact entry. But you see, you will have problem if you use price action. And price actions are not for people who have small accounts. I want to say that again. Price actions are people who have good equity, most likely, or equity that can withstand some level of drawdown. Because price action is good for analysis. It will help you know where the market is going. But the problem with price actions, it may not tell you the exact position of entry. And that's why people combine price action with indicators. I'm saying this to say that for those of you that have little account, don't rely only on price action. If you have a good equity, you can use price action. So for coming back to the video now, this is not the way to draw it. I would have drawn it this way, and that's the right way to draw it, something like this. That's the way to draw support and resistance. I'm telling you now. You make sure that a box cut across all the wicks, meaning that anytime price gets to that region, you can begin to consider buying or selling depending on what you've drawn. Okay, and now you understand it. So you draw a box and not a line, and you don't draw a line and call it support or resistance. It's very wrong to do that, because it will not make you make your decisions wide enough. Is that okay? So when you're drawing support and resistance, don't just draw a line, but draw what? A box. Draw what? A box. Consider it. For those of you who would have read about institutional order flow and all of that other block, you understand why the box is important, because it measures the previous and the future. It tells you about what happened in the past and what happens in the future. You can use that a lot, and it's going to help you. Never draw a line. Now let me say this. This is also another way. Okay, the only time you may have to draw a line, because you may not be able to draw a box, is something like this. Okay, you see that, where you're trying to draw a trend line. Now that is a resistance, and here you can call it a support. But you see, this is not like in the case of this is like a channel, so you can call this resistance support, but this does not answer to demand and supply. Demand and supply is supposed to be flatteningly horizontal, not diagonal, like the way this one is. So this is the only scenario where you can draw this way. Now, if you are responding to supply and demand, then you have to use the box method, this, for your drawing of a resistance and support line. I want to say this again. If you have a small equity, price action alone will not help you unless you want to swing trade. And besides, price action traders are mostly swing traders because they want to give the market the time to express itself. You can't be a scalper or an intraday trader and use price action very well like that. I'm not saying you can't use price action if you're an intraday trader, but the point is this, that if you want to be a very successful price action trader, you must have patience. Second, you must have equity that can withstand a little drawdown, because it doesn't mean that as soon as you spot an entry, it's going to start moving immediately. It can dance around. That's exactly why I draw this box, because it means that if you're looking at buying, as soon as this thing gets to this point, you must have a little endurance. But the good thing with indicators is that it can almost tell you where a particular thing will stop, just like in my previous video where I've talked about the 22 EMA, I've talked about the EEP extensive exhaustion point. These things help you to know most likely where you can place your trades and begin to make decision. I hope this is helping somebody. So if you're drawing support and resistance, use a box and not a line, except you're drawing a channel like what you see here now. So that is that for that. Remember that, like I said, resistance or support zones are psychological zones. It's actually a range of price fluctuation. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a particular price. So it's an area. So you must give that wide, gap, that space when you're making your decisions, so your trading decision. So that is that. We will not be able to go into deeper things now because maybe we'll have to do a special video to talk about other block, but there will be no need because I already recommended a very good video which I think is okay, and I've been able to to do justice to that course or to that area of interest. So if you need it, I think the video is already in the group, in the mentorship group, so you can find it and then you watch it. The link to the video is there. So that is that for drawing resistance and support. All right, but however, I want to say this very, very, very interestingly. Now, please, I just want to say this. It is often said that when price tests a resistance zone many times, it makes that zone stronger. Please, it's not true. It makes the zone weaker. The more time price goes to retest a particular zone, it makes it weaker. The next time it goes back there, it will break it. It is not true that the more time it hits a particular price, it makes it stronger. No, it makes it weaker. The more time it hits it, the more vulnerable that area, that price is. So get it correctly. So if you see price coming to test your resistance, maybe it has tested before, maybe the third time it's testing, don't think that it's going to test the fourth time and bounce again, and then you're in a hurry to buy. You have to watch, because the more time it tests that zone, the weaker that zone becomes. Please, I don't know if you've heard it anywhere, but that is the truth. Support and resistance are like the same thing. When price hits a resistance zone, from time it goes back, come back to hit the resistance. A point will come, it will break it. It will break it. It doesn't make it stronger. I'm not saying that you cannot hit there and go back normally, but if it does it more than 3 times, expect that the fourth time is going to break it. And even if it doesn't break it the fourth time, if it eventually comes back there, it will certainly break it. So that's why it is not always convenient to generally conclude by saying you buy at support, you sell at resistance. Not in all cases, because you can be trapped. So you must be a flexible, trader that takes decision based on what is given or what the market gives you at the time. I hope that is clear. So please, let's make use of that information and consider that whenever we're trading. That price has retested a particular zone several times doesn't make it strong, rather it makes it weak. You can quote me anywhere. Okay, so that is that for that. And for the interest of those who would have come across this video, that is how you can use even 3 different setups in one MT5. All you need to do is come back here, click on here. You can say, okay, my thing is frozen. There's only provision for only 2 windows at a time. So that's it. And I don't know if you're not clear. This, ask your questions in the comment section. I'd like you to ask your questions in the comment section. Let me just say this again for those who may just be having access to this video for the first time. My strategy, the EEP strategy on how to trade boom and crash, and other ones on how to trade boom and crash is very promising. I'm running a mentorship program. Our first 100 students or mentees group is already filled up, and we don't have room for more people. But for those people who said they also wanted to be part of the mentorship program, there is another group that is open for those kind of people. If you want to be mentored, if you want to learn how to trade crash and boom very effectively, and you want to be able to catch pips very well, and you want to make profit, okay, you can be part of this other group. The mentorship program is still open. There is a link below this video. You click on the link, it will lead you to our inquiry Telegram group where you make inquiries about the mentorship program. I want you to succeed, and I pray for you, you will succeed. And if you have questions, you can ask me in the comment section. I will find time to answer your questions and give clarity to areas where you don't fully understand. I wish you well and thank you very much. To your success, my name is Michael Essien.